who shows up. Impromptu live again. I gotta learn how to announce my lives, and then you guys know when I'm coming on, if I do decide to come on. But right now it's another impromptu. So let's see who shows up. If anybody. Oh, I don't have a hot drink or anything. I should make coffee. Hey guys, are you guys napping? Has it been a long day? Hey, not really a long day. It's just the way it is for senior dogs. There's Smokey. And there's Jernie. Hi, sweet pea. Hey. Yeah. Are you a good girl? Is Jernie a good girl? Well, it looks like we have one person in. Welcome. This is Vanlife Jernie. My name's Nancy. There's Jernie there. That's the namesake for the channel. And we live in a 2019 Ram ProMaster 3500. Oh, we lost the person already. Anyway, yeah. Ram ProMaster 3500, 159-inch wheelbase, extended, high top. And everything you see here, I've done myself. A friend of mine did the roof paneling with me. She helped me. I actually went to an RV place and had the fan put in. There's no way in hell I was going to chance cutting a hole in the roof of my van, not to that size. Something smaller, maybe, I would do. But a fan, no. Chances are I'd screw it up. So I went and I paid for somebody else to do it. Anyway. So that was done by an RV place. Cedar tongue and groove paneling was done by me and a friend. These pieces back here that cover the top gaps in the back doors, which is insulated behind there. I just took, I think it's like a 1/4 inch. It was like a 1/4 inch plywood. And then I just templated it out. And then I cut them out. And then I stained them. Ludo says hello. Hi. Thanks for joining us. Lunar Star says hi. Hi, Lunar Star. Thanks for joining us. This is Vanlife Jernie. We live in a 2019 Ram ProMaster 3500, 159-inch wheelbase extended with a high top. So I can stand up. It's like 6'3" in here, 6'2". I'm only 5'5". I'm just a shorty. So it accommodates me really well. You can see I'll stand up in it. Lots of headroom. Being that I'm getting older, I'm almost 60, I needed something that I could stand up in, and I don't want to be crawling around on my knees in a low top, like in a regular cargo van that's just a low top. It doesn't work for me. I'm an oldie. Bad knees, bad hips, bad back. Just fucking bad everything. Well, let's see what the comments say. Ludo says, where are you? I'm in British Columbia, Canada, Vancouver area. So the southwest portion of BC in Canada. Vancouver. We call it the wet coast because it's always raining here, which it's doing right now. Lunar Star says, that is so cool. I love your dog. That's Smoke. He's got his own channel, by the way, if you want to check that out. It's called Smoke and Vanlife. Smoke and Vanlife. One of my followers said, why doesn't Smoke have his own channel? So I started a channel for him. So if you want to check that out. He's only got like 11 subscribers right now. I only just started it a couple of days ago. But yeah, that's Smoke. Jernie's over here. That's Jernie. She's the namesake of this channel, Vanlife Jernie. And who else do we have here? Somebody's talking in a language I don't understand. But anyway, yeah. Thanks for joining. I don't know if you have subtitles that convert the language into something that you understand. I hope so. And we're down to one person. That's okay. It's an impromptu live. I'm just here to see who joins and we'll have a chit chat. Yeah. So one person's left. Who's in here? Don't be shy. Say hi. Unless it's somebody that already said hi. My name's Nazi. I live full-time in a 2019 Ram ProMaster 3500 high top, 159-inch wheelbase extended. This is the biggest of the ProMasters that you can get. And I was in a financial position, fortunately, in 2019 to be able to order a van like this. I special ordered it. And I was at a job and I was in a financial position where I could afford a van like this. Not everybody can afford a van like this, like the ProMasters, the Ford Transits, the Mercedes. Mercedes is the most expensive. They're outrageously expensive. You're looking at anywhere from 80 to 100,000 just to buy one, like blank, off the lot. Transit is about the same as ProMaster price-wise. They're kind of comparable. But I chose ProMaster because of the dimensions inside. The body shape is more square. It's the squarest of the vans. So you're not having to deal with curvatures up top, which makes it more difficult to template out and put in like cabinetry and stuff like that. It's kind of a wonky shape. But the ProMaster is more square, so it's a little bit more conducive to building for van life. A little easier. When you're working with just square angles, it's a lot easier. So that's one of the reasons why I chose ProMaster. Another reason is it's pretty decent on gas mileage. It's only a 6-cylinder. What else? It's got in the cargo area, because it's a front wheel drive. This one is a front wheel drive. There is no transaxle axle going down to the back to drive the rear wheels. So there's nothing underneath. So the deck can sit lower. So inside the cargo area, it's lower than what the Transit and the Mercedes is. Those ones, when you open up the sliding door and then there's a step and a step into the van. So you have to step twice to get up into it. This one, there is no step. It's just straight into the cargo deck. Which made it, that was an appealing feature for me at least. I don't know. It just, to me, I thought the flat deck, like the lower deck was more appealing to me. Not everybody's like that. A lot of people go for Transit and the Mercedes because of the 4-wheel drive capability, if you choose it that way. And then you can get up into like the backcountry a whole lot easier when you have all-wheel or 4-wheel drive. ProMaster doesn't have that option, unfortunately. But I've still had this thing up in the back roads almost in 4x4 trails, but not quite. It doesn't have the greatest clearance because at the very back, the wheels at the back, it's got like this stabilizer bar that gives you maybe a minimum 6-inch clearance. So it makes it hard to like go over rocks and things like that. So if you're going over uneven ground, this thing is not the best. But there are options for some of the ProMasters that you can give it a lift, like a 4 to 6-inch lift, which is kind of cool. But I don't know if that's available for the biggest option, like the biggest van that they have, which is the one I'm in. It might be a little bit better suited for the, I think it's the 134 or 135-inch wheelbase, like the little teeny tiny ones. I've seen the lift kits on those ones, and they look pretty cool. Put a decent set of tires on them, and they almost look like a 4x4, but they're not. So who's all here? Say hi. Don't be shy. My name is Nancy. I live in my 2019 Ram Pro Master 3500, 159-inch wheelbase, extended. It's a big one, Big Daddy. And I live here with my two dogs, Smoke and Jernie. They've been, well, Smoke's a new addition. Journey's been with me since 2012. And I moved into the van in 2020. So she's been with me for a while. And I had another dog before Smoke that I'd had since 2008, but she passed away just about a year and a half ago. So then I adopted Smoke. So he's been with us just over a year. Okay. And he's special needs. He's a handicapped boy. He's got, he only has 3 paws. So he's got one leg that has no paw on it, so it's just a stump. But he gets along pretty good with it. He's got some arthritis going, and he's been beaten. He hasn't been treated very well in his life. J-Rock, hey buddy, hello. How you doing, man? Again, yeah. It's always good to see you, buddy. What have you been up to? Anything interesting? You're good? That's awesome. Yeah, we're doing good too. Just thought we'd do an impromptu live. Not sure how many people will show up. It's not the nicest weather here in the Vancouver area. It's cold and wet. We had a pretty bad windstorm just recently. It rocked the Vancouver Island area. Didn't really get too much here. It was windy, but it wasn't bad. J-Rock says, I missed your vid. You mean you missed my videos, or? Yeah? Well, we miss having you here, buddy. I need to post some more. I gotta get on a regular schedule for posting. No. Hey, man. J-Rock, let me ask you a question. What kind of content would you like to see? Any topics in particular you want me to talk about regarding van life or anything like that? Let me know. I'm looking for some more ideas. I want to keep things fresh and, you know, but without glossing over. I don't want to be like one of those frou-frou van life channels that shows you a bunch of shit that's not realistic. I'm here for the realism of actual van life, people that choose it or where it becomes a necessity. So some people choose it, like I chose it, did a lot of research in it, looked into it, weighed the options, and I looked at, okay, what am I fed up doing? Well, I'm fed up renting. I don't own my own place. I never did. And as far as the future outlook of owning anything, no, it's probably not going to happen. Single person, single income, it's not possible anymore these days. It's ridiculous. And then the housing crisis and all that kind of stuff in North America, not just Vancouver. And as far as Canada goes, Vancouver is one of the most expensive places to live, so it's just garbage. There's a lot of people choosing vehicle dwelling or van life because of that. Just to be able to put money in your own pocket and not put it in somebody else's pocket who is going to benefit from it, and in the long run you're not. So I'm not into that anymore. I've rented most of my life, and yeah, I'm sick and tired of it. Not going to do it. So I'd rather see money go into my own pocket, which is why I chose this lifestyle. It's a really great lifestyle to choose if you want to save money fast. And I mean, you look at the fact that, I mean, for myself, I was paying over $900 a month for just a single bedroom in a shared house. You know, I mean, that's a lot of money. I used to be able to rent a whole basement suite for that back in the day. But you can't do that anymore. And it's money going in somebody else's pocket, paying for their mortgage. So then in the long run, when their mortgage is paid off, that money goes in their pocket, in their bank account, and they get to benefit from it. Well, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to foot somebody else's bill so that they can enjoy their life and take off on nice vacations and whatever when I'm struggling. I'm not going to do that. So that's why I chose van life. It wasn't out of necessity because I was working full time at a really good job, and I didn't have to choose it, but I did. It wasn't out of necessity for me. And I highly recommend this for anybody that's, you know, younger. Think about your future. Think about what it is that you want to accomplish in your life, or what your future goals are, as far as, do you want to travel? Is there something that you want to save up money for to go and purchase, or something that you want to go and do, but it's going to require money? You want to save money really fast? Get yourself a vehicle. Doesn't have to be brand new, and something big enough that you can lie down and sleep in, and then just modify it. You can do it with even like a small, well, not a super small, but a like an average sized vehicle. If you don't really care too much about the resale portion of it, you can rip the seats out and you can make yourself a bed. You can make yourself like a cabinet setup where you can do your cooking. You can have a little bit of storage underneath your bed, or in that cabinetry. And the money that you're going to save is, you're going to be able to put a whole lot of money away. Trust me. Because you're not paying rent. You're not having to pay somebody else's bills. You're not paying your own bills. The only thing I have to pay for bill-wise, well, is my cell phone. So I have a cell phone plan like everybody. And that's an expense. It's around $85 a month. And that's pretty much the only bill that I have. I do have a gas bill, so obviously I have to put fuel in the vehicle if I want to go places. But that's, you know, anybody has to do that if you have a vehicle. So it's something that's inevitable. But I'm not paying rent. I'm not paying upwards of $1,000 a month or more to put that money in somebody else's pocket, and I've got nothing to show for it. So if you're renting, that's what I'm talking about. It's just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense to me anymore to keep doing that, right? I am getting up there. I mean, I'm going to be 60 soon. I'm not putting money in other people's pockets anymore. I'm done. Finished. I want that money to go in my bank account so that I can live my life and do the things that I want to do. Because retirement eventually is going to come for me. And even then, for a lot of people that are working all their lives, retirement is not necessarily looking all so good anymore. Because the government doesn't really pay you a whole lot with CPP. That's Canada Pension Plan. They want their money, and they're going to get it, so they take it from you, and they just give you a pittance. Like, it's fucked up. Sorry for the language, but it is. It's fucked up. Not only are you working to put money in somebody else's pocket when you're renting, but you're also working to put money in the government's pocket. Politicians, whoever's taking your money from taxes and all that shit. So, I mean, that's a given. You're going to end up having to pay taxes no matter what. But, you know, I would just want to eliminate putting money in other people's pockets to pay for a roof over my head. This vehicle has allowed me the freedom to be able to get away from that fucking scenario. And then you're having to deal with shitty landlords. Like, one winter, I was renting a place, and we actually had a freak winter where it went like 20 below, and the furnace in the house blew out, so it stopped working. It kaput. We needed a new furnace, and the landlord wouldn't fix it, wouldn't change it, wouldn't get us a new one. In minus 20. Bullshit. I'm not having to fight landlords. And then residential tenancy branch didn't really offer us much of a solution either. So I'm not gonna put myself in that position anymore. The only thing I have to worry about is vehicle maintenance. So regular oil changes. My van is brand new, so I didn't really have to, and that's why I chose a brand new van, because I know the history. I know what's been done to it, and I know everything that needed to be done along the way. It's a 5-year-old van now, and I've done regular oil changes. The transmission oil pan gasket needed changing. I did that. That's all taken care of. Tune-ups, everything. I do my own air filter changes, and I look after all that stuff. And there's no reason why you can't either. But yeah, and then if I choose to go somewhere, I can go anywhere I want, even if it's work-wise. So, and I've done that. I've traveled for work, and I just literally move my vehicle. There's my whole house, and I take it with me. And I'm not restricted to one location. So I'm not stuck here in Vancouver for work if I don't want to be. If I want to go and work somewhere else in BC or Canada, for that matter, I can do that. And it's not holding me back in any way, shape, or form. So freedom, flexibility, and just overall peace of mind. Again, I'm not having to deal with shitty landlords who won't do fuck all for you, and then you have to fight them tooth and nail with residential tenancy branch. They can up your rent whenever they choose, as long as it's within reason. They have, they have to abide by certain guidelines as how often they can change your rent and by what percentage. But still, they can up your rent. They can even evict you at any time because they want to renovate, claiming that they have a family member that's going to move in. So they can kick you out, renovate, and then jack the rent up. And where does that leave you? Not in a very good position. No one can evict me from my vehicle. My van is my home. No one can evict me from my home. No one. Unless I don't pay my van payments. And then they repossess my vehicle. But aside from that, I mean, I'm still paying my payments. It's about the same as rent, right? So I'm paying about the same as what I would in rent where I was at. And this is the money's going in my pocket eventually. Let's have a look and see what the comments are saying here. Oh, I missed a bunch. Oh, Iron Fire Horse is here. Hey, buddy. Welcome. Carolyn Bow. Hey, lady. It's Sally. Sally, hey. Oh, you're on somebody else's phone. Your mom's. All right. And you were just looking at vans and TVs, RVs. Yeah. I mean, you're paying bills and you're losing a lot. If you're putting it in somebody else's pocket, you got nothing to show for it. And I think that's a real shitty thing for people who are struggling as it is. No, put that money in your pocket. Put it in your pocket, which is what I chose to do. Iron Fire Horse says, oh, I could write a book about my life. I know, I could too. The last place that was the one that gave me the shove into van life. I was paying over $900 a month for just a bedroom. Shared everything else. Shared the bathroom, shared the house. well, I mean, I didn't really share the house. I wasn't really made to feel welcome to be able to share the house. But this guy was sketchy as fuck. He was into drugs. He was bringing his little 4-year-old. He had partial custody, weekend visitation on his little kid that was only 4 years old at the time. And he was bringing the child into the home with like a desk. You know, a desk is accessible for a little child to reach up on. And he had all his fucking drug paraphernalia. He had baggies of marijuana, pill bottles, all kinds of shit. Within reach of a 4-year-old. Can you believe that? And then he had sketchy people coming and going because he never locked the door. He never gave me a key to lock or be able to come in and out of the house because he says, no, I don't lock the door, so you don't need a key. Excuse me? This is my home that I'm paying rent for too. And you're allowing sketchy drug dealing people coming and going from this house without my consent? No. No. Not to mention the fact that I could phone child services and have your kid taken away because you're exposing them to all this crap. It was ridiculous. Sally says, how's Smoke and Journey? They're good. They're napping right now. They've been out. They're smoky. Oh, Journey's over here. So they're napping right now. Yeah. Oh, you were looking at a 2018, Sally? Really? Like a ProMaster or just any other van? Yeah, see, you could write a book about stress dealing with scumlords. Yeah. And just even roommates. Like the one that I was just talking about was a roommate / landlord. Because he wasn't the actual landlord. He was renting from somebody else, but then he was subletting this room to me. So he was like my landlord, right? Losing money and being married to someone in military and moving multiple times, multiple states. Yeah, that military life is not exactly the most stable either. And if only you had a van then. Yeah, then you could have escaped, right? Gone and done your own thing. Yeah, Airbnb, that's another reason why some people evict their tenants is because they want to change it into an Airbnb. And then they can rake in more money that way too, right? You own your own home, Sally. Well, good for you. And yeah, I'm not knocking it. Don't get me wrong. What I am knocking is the renting aspect of it. And some of these people that rent out. Not all landlords are shitty. I've had maybe 1 or 2 in my lifetime, and I've been renting since I was 18. I'm almost 60. So I've had a bunch of different landlords, and maybe a fraction of that have been half decent, but few and far between. It's just like tenants, though. Like, I'm not defending tenants, and I'm not just knocking landlords. There's shitty tenants out there too, but for me as a tenant, I've just encountered real crappy landlords. You travel a lot when you were doing fraud investigations all across and didn't get to enjoy. Love to be able to. Yeah, I mean, you just want time to yourself. You just want time to be able to enjoy life. And it's getting harder and harder. And that's just how humans have created life for themselves is, you know, I mean, I blame it on government because they're the ones that are in control. They want their money. And if you're going to exist or live in the country that they're presiding over, you have to work so that they can take half your money. So they don't like it when people don't work because they don't get their money. That's why they don't like things like van life and homelessness and right? They want their money. So you better be a good little boy and girl. Get out there in the workforce and slave until you're not able to anymore and whatnot, so that they can take half of what you make, and in some cases more than half, um, and then just give you very little in return when you do retire. Black man RVing. Hey man, how you doing? Is it getting cold where you're at right now? Do you have a diesel heater in your unit? No, I do not have a diesel heater. I don't have any permanent dry air heat source in the van as of yet. I'm still kind of researching what is going to be the best option for me. So I haven't quite decided yet what I'm going to get. However, I do have a propane heat source, which is the Olympian Wave 8. It's the biggest of, I think it's the biggest. There's the Wave 3 and the Wave, is it 6 or something? And then the 8. So I got the 8, knowing that I've got 80 square feet of space in here that I need to keep heated. Yes, it's insulated. The roof is insulated. The walls are insulated, but the floor is not. It is kind of, but it's not. Not as efficiently as it should be. And it still gets pretty cold in here. But yeah, I do have a heat source, but it's just not a diesel. It's not a permanent setup. It's a portable propane Olympian Wave 8. So it's a catalytic heater. It's very safe. I've had it in here for numerous winters. I was in Kelowna for a couple of years back, and it was like minus 28, and that thing saved our lives. It's not the most ideal because it does throw off moisture. Anything that burns propane will emit moisture into the air, into the space. So you have to deal with condensation issues. But as long as you keep it well ventilated, then it's not as bad. But it's still not the most ideal heat source, that's for sure. But that's what I'm dealing with right now. Winnebago van. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through the messages here, trying to catch up. Not that it's going super fast, because there's not a lot of people in here, as per usual. Iron Firehorse says, I lived in a really tourist-dependent place. Airbnb left many of us homeless. So we left the area. Now have no workers over there. And the wealthy are crying. Yeah, well, that's called karma. When you get too greedy in life, karma's always there in the background, ready to slap the fucking attitude right out of you. When you think you're better than what you're claiming to be. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. But it's karma. Karma's always gonna come and get you. Karma's a bitch, and then you die. That's the old saying from when I was younger. Parts of New Mexico and Arizona. I'd love to go down there. I've been to the States, but it's been a lot of years. Furthest down on the West Coast I've been is San Diego. Love that area. California. I'd love to go over to Arizona, Nevada, like the deserty areas. New Mexico, yeah, that'd be cool too. I just want to go and like cruise the States. But I really want to check out the deserts, for sure. I've been to Florida, and that was really nice, but quite humid. New Mexico appeals to me from videos I have seen. Yes. Same for me with like Arizona, Nevada. What's the other places? I mean, it's not deserty, but it's more mountainous and stuff like that. I mean, there's certain parts of Washington and Oregon that I like. I've stuck along the coast, so I would like to go more into the state, more central. Do you know what I mean? I'd love to go to Montana. Love to see Idaho. Um, and I would love to go to the East Coast and see New England and Connecticut and New York, uh, just to see the East Coast. I've never even been to the East Coast of Canada. The furthest east I've been in Canada, because I was born and raised here in British Columbia, is Alberta. So I've been to a few places in Alberta. I've been to Calgary, been to Edmonton, been to like Banff National Park, Jasper before it burned to the ground, and then I've been up north to what's called Cold Lake, and it borders Saskatchewan, but beautiful, beautiful area. There's a military base up there. Black Man RVing. Have you ever went to the RTR in Quartzsite, Arizona? No, I haven't. I've not been to Arizona. My sister, when she was alive, she motorcycled around Arizona, but I've never been. And I've seen some recent posts of Quartzsite, but I haven't really taken a deep look at it. It sounds beautiful though, but is there something going on with Quartzsite right now? Montana's breathtaking. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just want to go for the scenery, even if it's just driving through. But no, I'd love to go and spend some time and do some camping in like Montana and whatnot. Colorado. Yeah. So some areas there are a lot like BC with the mountain range, because I think the Rockies extend down into there. And then up here on the west coast, it's what's called the Cascade Mountain Range. So that's where Mount Baker, Mount Rainier, Mount Shasta, Mount St. Helens, all those, Mount Hood, that's all part of the Cascade Mountain Range. Iron Firehorse, you're Canadian. You haven't been to Newfoundland or PEI or the territories. Well, I shouldn't give you slack for that because neither have I. But Newfoundland, um, what? Oh shoot, what's this? What's the portion on the east coast there that I wanted to go to? My sister and I had talked about it. We wanted to do a motorcycle trip along there. Um, oh shoot, it'll come to me. But yeah, the east coast is just phenomenally beautiful in a different kind of way. The west coast is beautiful too, but the east coast, there's something different about it. It's a whole different feel and a whole different scene over there. Good deals on property, especially off-gridders. Where's that at? Is that, you talking about Arizona? Um, I mean, that's something that I would look at in the future too, is saving up some money to purchase a piece of property, some acreage, but not put anything substantial on it. I would be more interested in like slapping up a little tiny cabin. Nothing modular. I would like a little log cabin. I'm super super more inclined for the rustic type of living. Um, and just completely off grid. Maybe try and fuel it or power it by solar. I don't know, or maybe just not even do that. But I love that whole rustic log cabin type living. You got your little fireplace and or your wood stove, and yeah, it's just there's something about it. Good. Okay. Wish we could go. Wish we could van on over to Scotland and Ireland. Yes. Well, Ireland is half my heritage. Scotland is beautiful too. I've been up there. It's many decades ago. I was a young kid. My parents went up there, and of course, I was with them. Scotland is breathtaking. I've been up as far as, I think it's Inverness, Loch Ness Lake. Yeah, I mean, it's just the landscape is stunning. It's hard to describe. You'd have to go there, right? Pictures don't do it justice, but the pictures and the photography, videography of Scotland and Ireland is just breathtaking. But Ireland is, my mother was she was born and raised in Dublin. And we went there when my mom was terminal. Back in 1980, we went there for a trip. She wanted to go back to the homeland, wanted to go back to visit her aunt that was still living at the time. And yeah, we spent some time over there, and it was just beautiful. So yeah, I'm half Irish, so I have an affinity towards Ireland anyway. New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, why can't I think of it? There's a section. Gosh, it's just totally out of my head right now. Like I just can't even think of the. Oh, I want to say it starts with a Y, but I don't think it does. Labrador. There we go. I knew it was something like that. Labrador is frickin' stunning as well. And yeah, my sister, when she was alive, we were talking about doing a motorcycle trip along that coast, Labrador, Newfoundland, Nova Scotia areas. Yeah. Am I okay? Black Man RVing. It's called the Rubber Trap Rendezvous. That's when all the RVers get together. Okay, 14 days out of the year and show off. So it's like a car show for RVers, vanlifers? You know, those classic car shows? That'd be fun, actually. The only thing is my van is just very basic looking. It's nothing fancy. And the interior is nothing fancy either. It's nothing professional. I did it myself. And it's not even a build. Well, it's half a build and half just home furnishings that I slapped in here and secured to the walls. Yeah, I've heard a lot about Quartzsite. I haven't really checked it out though. Yeah, the rustic off-grid living, there's just something about it. And I would love to live on a chunk of property, like about 10 or 20 acres, more if I could afford it, but 10 or 20 acres that's mostly forested, like wooded, with maybe this little, like a little meadow clearing where you can put this cabin. And yeah, I mean, that stuff just, I long for that kind of life. And then you just get up in the morning and you can wander out onto the property and maybe do some of your own foraging, like certain times of years where you can go and forage for things like mushrooms, and then in the springtime when you can go and forage for certain types of plants. You can forage all year round and get different types of things depending on what the season is. But I'd also like a little section in that meadow area that I could have a little bit of a garden and plant some things like, you know, potatoes, carrots, and other stuff that keeps well. And then just throw them in a root cellar once you've harvested them and they're good for a while, right? Self-sufficient. And then you could even do a tap well. As long as the water table is not too low down, it's high enough up that you can tap the pipe down in and have yourself like a little pump well. You know what I mean? With the arm, and not a hole in the ground well, but the ones that you can tap the pipe down into and draw the water from the water table. Yeah, I'll have to check out Quartzsite. I've got to get my passport renewed so I can cross the border and go and check these places out. Oh, you were born in Scotland, Iron Fire Horse. Yeah, I think we've had that conversation before. Yeah. I'm the only one in my family that was born here. The rest were born in England. My sister and my 2 brothers. I've only got 1 brother left living. But yeah, they were all born in England. And then of course I was born here. I don't think I was planned. I think it was just an accident. At least I was what did my mom once tell me? Oh, I was diagnosed. She was diagnosed with a ovarian cyst. That's what I am. That would explain a lot. Sally, Native American here and mixed with a little bit of something else. Okay. Oh. Beautiful area of that coast. Yes, it's off-road or overlanders. That's the one, that guy from Cheap RV Living. Oh, the fuck is his name? Bob Wells, I think you're talking about. Yeah. Is that where he is? Quartzsite? Black Man RVing. No, it's not like that. It's regular people, regular vans coming out. There are no fancy stuff like that. Oh, okay, gotcha. It's just regular people showing off how they. Okay. So, so it's not like a fancy car show gathering where everybody's trying to outdo the other. That's okay. Well, I can handle that because I got nothing to show that's any, like I'm my personality, I'm so not competitive. It's, yeah, I have what I have, and if you don't like it, well, that's not my problem. I'm happy with it. Forest, a meadow, and a river, yes. Yeah, a little river or a brook or something that's, yeah, that'd be awesome. Brian Offgood Backcountry Adventures? Kevin Campervan Kevin? Oh, they live close to Quartzsite. Okay. Yeah. That's what I was told. My mom said that's what she was diagnosed with. Not Bob Wells. No? I thought he was out in that area. He's out there somewhere in one of the deserts, isn't he? With his long flowing Santa beard and... Bob Wells. Yeah. Overlander Campers, Van Life, that's what the get-together is about. Okay. Yeah, they know a lot of properties. Yeah, I would almost be tempted to buy something down in the States because you can get land cheap down there in certain states anyway. Up here it's getting harder and harder to find property that's not exorbitantly priced. And especially not in BC. You'd have to go way up north, which I don't think anybody really wants to live in that climate. Oh, sorry. Anybody wants to live in that type of climate all the time. Mind you, when you're a van lifer, you can stay there for a certain amount of time, and then when it gets unbearably cold or whatever, you could just fuck off and go down south. I think that's probably what I would do regardless, no matter where I was at with a chunk of property. But yeah, it's just getting harder and harder up here in Canada to be able to afford anything. Unless, like I say, you go up in butt-fuck nowhere in the northern part of the country. But on the upside with that, when you're not exactly a people person, that's probably more appealing anyway. Bob Wells is awesome. He has helped so many over the years and is so humble. I haven't watched a lot of his videos, but yeah, that's what I hear. He's actually quite a down-to-earth kind of guy. I'm just teasing when I say he's like the Santa-looking guy, but I'm pretty sure he's been told that. But yeah, he's been quite quite the influence on the van life scenario. And I think he's helped a lot of people. Campervan Kevin has friends, so does Brian. Really cheap, 7 to 14 acres for practically nothing. And it has to remain off-grid. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, because I don't want to tie into the grid. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to contribute to that kind of bullshit. I want to be self-sufficient and as much basic living as possible, because in the end, that's how humans as an animal are supposed to live anyway. But I'm not going to get into that shit. Where are we here? Cheap property in Canada isn't easy to find. No, it's not. States has a lot more to offer. Yeah, they do. Friend of mine a while ago was looking at purchasing some property, and she was looking at down in the States, just over the border actually from BC and Alberta. So I guess Washington, Idaho, in sort of that area. Cheap property, holy smokes, for tons of acres, not just like single digits. Bob Wells, he's the Santa for vans. Yeah, exactly. Oh, who's moving? Are you moving? What are you doing, Smoke? Smoke has his own channel now, by the way. It's called Smoke and Vanlife. Smoke 'N Vanlife. Smoke and Vanlife. I was going to call it the Smoke Show, but I thought, I want to kind of still draw van life into it, so it became Smoke and Van Life. But yeah, his little shorts are the Smoke Shows. Campervan, sorry, I'm not just staring at the screen, I'm trying to read the comments. Pets rest. What? Hook up to water, charger, solar. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of cool. See, that's another thing that I was thinking about too, is purchasing a chunk of property and then having it set up sort of like what this quartzsite sounds to me like it is, where it's an open piece of property and you just kind of have these very rudimentary camping sites, if you will, where people can pull in and you know, they've got a little chunk of something that they can call their own for a short term, and then open it up for people who are traveling through, where they can come and park their van or whatever and just stay for a short bit. The only problem I see with that is you're going to get a lot of transient types that really don't give a shit about what they leave behind and how they treat the property. So there would have to be some rules and maybe short-term contracts in place. I wouldn't want just any Joe Blow to come and park their thing and leave and then end up leaving a whole junk pile of shit for me to have to deal with. I'm not going to do that. That's no, you're not going to do that to me. So for me, it's a great idea and I love it and I would probably want to do that. But yeah, there'd have to be some sort of a little contract that you sign off on and saying that you're responsible. Whatever you bring in, you pack out. You don't leave any garbage. And if you do, then you're never allowed here again, kind of thing. You get people that are respectful for the most part, yeah, but there are some, and I'm not going to paint everybody with the same brush, but there's a small portion of people like that, and it doesn't matter where you go. I've parked in areas where there's been people parked there with derelict vehicles for months on end, and the piles of garbage that they have there. And even if bylaws comes and clears them out, which has happened in a couple of places, these people leave all their fucking garbage behind for others to deal with. So it's totally disrespectful. It's really ignorant, and it's super selfish. Like, come on, get a grip. I don't tolerate that kind of garbage, and there's no way that I would put up with it. Tito says, "Mama, what are you doing?" Huh? Who's your mama? Is your mama in here? Who's your mama? You talking to me? I ain't your mama. Iron Firehose says, I'm falling behind on the comments. Okay, I'll have to check out Smoke's channel. Yeah, please do. I think he's only got like 11 subscribers or something, which is fine. I only started it like a couple of days ago. 2-3 days ago, I think. So it hasn't been up long. But he's got about 11 subscribers. And he's got a few videos up. So we'll see where it goes with it. And it's just van life in his eyes kind of thing. Ruby, Just Rowan, if anybody follows Rowan and Ruby. Just Rowan has a channel for her dog Ruby, and it's called Just Ruby. And it's the same kind of thing. So I'm kind of trying to follow a little bit of how Rowan does it, and trying the same thing. And then just see how it works. If he has followers, that's great. If not, whatever. Not everybody's into watching dogs run around. Iron Firehorse, or some charming, shiny person who is a weird predator. Trust issues. Well, I got trust issues too. Stems from working in a prison. PTSD and all that stuff. Yeah, I don't trust a lot of people either. But yeah, you get these weird people that are just predator types, and I've never, touch wood, had an issue ever in van life in the 5 years that I've been doing it. Never had an issue with anybody being creepy. But I carry myself in a way that exudes this "you don't fuck with me" kind of persona, which is true. Being an ex-correctional officer, yeah, you're not going to fuck with me. Not unless you plan on having some injuries. You might be able to put a punch on me, but you better make damn fucking sure I don't get up. That's the energy that I put out. And so I've never in my van life in 5 years had a problem, ever, with anybody creepy. I had one instance, which was really kind of weird. It was the strangest thing ever. And I never could pin it to a human. I really couldn't. And it's not a Sasquatch story, please. I don't believe in Sasquatch. But I was in Salmon Arm, and it was Christmas. So it was like, I think it was Christmas Eve. And I was parked in town by the fairgrounds. If anybody knows Salmon Arm, British Columbia. Anyway, they've got a fairgrounds there. So I was parked near the fairgrounds, and then there was this like park with sports fields and this water park for the kids in the summer and whatever. So I was parked in between. And somebody's doing woodwork out there. So I was parked there, and it was around 10 o'clock at night, so it was dark, obviously. And I had just finished having the dogs out, and they were fed, and we put them to bed, and then I crawled into bed. And I was maybe in bed for about 20 minutes, half an hour. And all of a sudden, my cab at the front has the interior light that, you know, when you open up the door in your vehicle, the light pops on. Well, that happened. So the light came on, and I'm like, where the fuck is that light coming from? So I looked, and through my curtain blanket thing that I had up front, I was able to see through a bit, and I could see that the light was on. And I thought, well, that's weird. So I was about to get up when my sliding door on the side popped open. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And then about 5 seconds later, one of the back doors popped open. So I yelled, hey, get the fuck out of here. And Jernie got up and she started getting all pissy, like, okay, let's rumble. Holly couldn't have cared less because she was deaf. So I leaped out of bed, put my boots on, and here I am in like a t-shirt and underwear. And I took Jernie, and I've got a bat that I have, and I went outside with the dog, and there was nobody there. No one. And it had been snowing that night. So I went around the van looking for footprints, and there was none. No footprints whatsoever. And I can't even to this day explain what the hell that was about. I can't even pin it to a person because there was nobody. And it didn't take me long to leap out of bed and jump out with the dog to take a look and see what the fuck. There was nobody. But again, no footprints, because I took a look around the van and I checked for footprints to see if there was, like, if it was a man or if it was what it was. Nothing. No footprints whatsoever. It was the weirdest thing. So anyway, I had Jernie out there. She was off leash, and I'm like, go get him. But she didn't even know what direction to go because, well, there was nobody. Anyway. So I checked the van doors. The front door was ajar. The sliding door was ajar. And the back door was ajar. So I shut all the doors, and I came back in the van, put Jernie back into bed, and I locked the doors again because I've got my key fob. So if I want to lock the doors while I'm in here, I can. So that's my routine. Before I go to bed, I make sure that my doors are all locked. I have no idea, still to this day, I have no idea what that was or who it was or what. But anyway, that's the only time I ever had a problem. Nothing ever since then. Or even before that. It was just that one weird experience, and I can't explain it. Yeah, you're Smokey and Journey's mama only. Yes, I never had kids. Don't have the patience. They're too expensive. Not knocking anybody that had kids, so please don't get me wrong. Not saying kids are bad or anything like that. I just never chose to have them. I think I would have been a bad influence on kids anyway, to be honest. You get a lot of trust issues working at prison, especially around serial killers. Yeah, that's the truth. And yeah, I had one inmate that went ballistic on me and tried to kill me. So PTSD, yeah, PTSD is a good buddy of mine. Iron Firehorse, weird stuff, yikes, poltergeist. Do I even believe in poltergeists? No. I don't know what it was. I can't even explain it. I have no idea. If it was a person, they must have been like hovering and not touching the ground, because again, it was snowing, so there would have been clear evidence of footprints, and there was nothing. Yeah, I can't, there's no way I can explain it. I don't know how it happened or what it was, or, yeah, no idea. Wouldn't have been a bear either. Again, I would have seen bear paw prints in the snow, but there was nothing. KR, hey, hope all is well with everyone. Everything is cool over here, KR. How are you? As long as you're still here. I don't know if you are or not. Sorry, I'm lagging in the comments, but look at Jernie. What are you doing? That's her lazy paw licking thing. I'm going to wash my paws, but I'm going to lay down doing it. Are you being lazy, Baba? Yeah. Hey, Jernie. What are you doing? She does a lot of sleeping now. She's getting older. 13. With some cancer issues. Smokey's, he's up there too. I think he's got to be, he was 9 or 10, they estimated, when I adopted him. And that was just over a year ago, I guess, year and a half ago. So he'd be about, he's got to be about 11, maybe 12. So and then he's got his issues. He was beaten up, and he's got missing teeth and blunt force trauma to the head and missing a foot, and he's arthritic. So he doesn't move around all too quickly anymore either. Man, I'd like to get a hold of whoever did that to him. The people, one is in jail, or at least when I adopted him, the person was in jail, and the other person was missing. They'd both be missing if I could get my hands on them. Yeah. What do we got here? We're just over an hour in. We got 4 people. That's okay. We've had upwards of about 10 or so people in here, I think. Smoke's been through a lot. Glad you have him now. Yeah, I think he has been through a lot. And I'm glad I have him too. He's a really good boy. He's such a good boy. You can see him. Hey, buddy. Hi. Hi. Yeah, it's going to be their supper time soon, so. Where are we at here? Oh, there's Bernie. Hey, Bernie. Sorry, just checking in. Oh, cool. Well, glad you checked in. Sally says, great line breaks here in West Virginia. Is it West Virginia? If you find them. What's that? What are you talking about? Yeah, hey, Bernie. Where are you at in your travels now, Bernie? You still in Canada, yeah? Somewhere, you were in Ontario, I think, right? Somewhere out there. Fresno, California. Or you're in California. I thought you were up here. Or you were. Are you making noise? What are you doing? What's the Smokey doing? Hey? Is that light better or is it worse? Are you making noise back there? Well, okay then. Well, okay then. What are you doing? Hey? Are you looking? You see yourself? Do you see yourself in the camera? Do you? Yeah? Are you showing off? Are you showing off, buddy? Are you showing off, mister? Huh? Are you showing off? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. And Journey's just like, no, leave me alone. Get too old for this bullshit. Are ya? Too old for this shit? Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't think we're going to be on too much longer than this. I didn't want to stay on too long because, I mean, again, it was just impromptu. I'm really bad at that. I don't tell anybody I'm coming or going. I just show up and then I leave. It's good lighting? Okay. Well, that's all right. I thought maybe it just might reflect too much on the glasses. And I can't see without them, though. Part of getting old. Okay, so yeah, he's a funny boy. He's he's a cutie pie. Right now he's. Are you licking on your junk? Are you? Are you licking your junk? Not on camera. Not on camera. Florida to Canada to New York, Florida, Savannah, Charleston to Florida. Good Lord, you're bouncing everywhere. Fresno, San Francisco, BC. Good grief. You're just bouncing everywhere, man. And then Vegas, LA, Colorado to Phoenix. Holy. Right? She has been getting around. I don't know. I don't know that I would have that much energy anymore. What's you doing, buddy? Poor boy. See, he has a hard time with movement and stuff. He's arthritic. Oh, buddy. You gonna lie down? Good boy. There you go. Yes. Are you so handsome? My goodness, you're handsome. You're so handsome on camera. Look how handsome you are. Oh, you're so handsome. And you're pretty too. You're beautiful. You're both stunning. He's young for arthritis. I think so too, because Jernie doesn't have any arthritis and she's 13. So it leads me to believe that he was kept outdoors. I believe he was probably in a kennel or something outdoors. I don't think he was kept inside where it was warm and comfortable. And I think he was in a kennel. And based on some of his, like the markings on his elbows, they get that sort of callousy kind of look to their elbows and whatnot when they've been laying on concrete or a hard floor. So that's what he has. And I believe he was kept out in a kennel. I don't think he was, you know, pampered or anything like that by any means. So if he's had to live out in the elements, definitely arthritis is going to be a factor to that sort of a lifestyle. Journey's never been subjected to that kind of lifestyle since she was, well, since she was picked up. She was a stray that was picked up wandering around at her brother. She had a brother. Yeah, they were picked up as strays in Southern California, San Bernardino to be exact. So for the first few months of her life, she was outdoors. But when, I think she was around 5 or 6 months when the shelter picked her up, animal control got her, and then she was down in San Bernardino shelter. And then she came up here. She was 8 months when the rescue agency up here brought her. So she was still a puppy and still young and whatnot. So I don't think she was subjected to too much outdoor type stuff. But she's never shown any signs of arthritis at all. We're retirement celebration. Ah, good for you. Your retirement, maybe, or somebody else's? And he is a looker. Yes, he is. He's so very handsome. His coloring is spectacular in certain shots, and he's just a handsome boy all around. Can I show his Paula's foot? Okay, hang on. How's Journey's health been doing? She's been okay. She's coughing a little bit differently now. It's sounding a little bit more fluidy and rattly. It's not the greatest, but she's not constantly coughing, which is good. But it is it has a concerning sound to it. Okay, where's your Paula's foot? It's right here. Oh, hang on, buddy. There it is right there. So he's got the whole leg up until where the paw actually bends. So there's no joint to it. Hi, buddy. I know you don't like me touching it. So it's almost like if you think about your leg going down to the ankle. So he's got the leg all the way down to where the ankle joint would be, or the wrist joint, and then beyond that, there's nothing. So his paw was, I don't know what happened to it. It's hard to say. It's not a birth defect, though. A lot of people say, oh, that's a birth defect. No, it's not. This is not a birth defect. Generally, a birth defect would have still remnants of the paw itself, but it would be kind of contorted and twisted or just not properly formed. This has no foot whatsoever. So it's just the lower portion of his leg, and then it's where the joint would connect. So it's been ripped off. So how it's been ripped off, I don't know. Is it painful for him? Sometimes. It depends on the terrain that we're on. If like if it's grass and stuff, he's fine. But if it ends up getting a little bit more compacted and with some gravel and stuff, then he has a bit of a hard time. It's more sensitive. So I put a bootie on him. I have little booties for him. And when I take him out on, if I have to take him out on rough terrain, I'll put the boot on him. So it's just regular like dog booties that I got at one of the pet stores. So I just slip it on. But because he doesn't have a paw to hold it on, sometimes it'll slip off and then it's flopping around, so I have to readjust it. But it does the trick. He runs around better with it, so that's a good thing. Painful for, yeah, okay. So, yeah, painful or adjusted. I would say it's a little bit of both. Sometimes it's painful, but with the booty, he adjusts. And then sometimes when he's walking or running around, he'll hold it up, and then his back end kind of hops along. So he'll kind of do a little skip. And with the booty, he'll actually put his foot down and touch the ground. I'd like to look into getting him a prosthetic, but that's a bit of a costly venture. I'd like to go and talk to them and see what kind of stuff can be done. There's a place, I think, here in the Lower Mainland that can potentially do a prosthetic for him. And I've looked online, and I think there's some places that you can get prosthetics as well. Bernie says, yeah, I saw the booties at the campsite. Yeah, he was wearing it there because the gravel. So the campsites are all gravel. So I had to have the bootie on him, or it hurts, and it could cut his foot, or, well, the stump. And I don't want that. HM, what's that? You've said that in a comment before, and I'm not quite sure I follow. What's HM? Can you elaborate? I'm not hip with all these Anagrams. Hour and 20 minutes. All right, we'll give it another maybe 10 minutes. And oh, how much? I have no idea. I haven't really looked at the pricing. Yeah, I would have to go to the place and they would measure his leg and everything. They would look at him and see if he's a good candidate for it to start with. He may not be. They look for certain criteria on the amputation or the stump or whatever. They look for certain criteria based on like how much of the leg is left intact, what part of it's missing, what the stump it's like, what the actual end of the stump looks like itself, that kind of stuff. Because they have to figure out what type of prosthetic it needs at that point. But he may not even be a good candidate for it. It's hard to say. Some aren't. And it may be a fairly elaborate type of prosthetic because it would have to be strapped up around his hip in order to keep it on. Some may not have, it may not have to be that elaborate. It may only be like anchored somewhere at the what's considered the heel of his leg, which is higher up than the paw. So let me see. When you see a dog's, I don't think we have a good light for this. Hang on. Let me put some more light on the subject. Can we do that? So here's the dog's hip, right? This is where the joins to the body itself. That's the hip. Then the hip, like would be the femur. And here's the knee. And then down from the knee is considered the heel. So because dogs have evolved to basically just run on their toes, this is a heel that is no longer used. And it just becomes a joint on their leg. But it's still considered a heel, if that makes any sense. So the way that they've evolved is, and it's like horses too. So they've evolved to the point where they're just running on their toes. So their paw is not actually technically a foot. It's their toes. And then higher up is the heel. So they may anchor it around the heel, or they may have to anchor it higher up around the hip. I don't know. They'd have to look at it. And as far as cost, I have no idea. So long story short, I don't know. Sometimes I ramble. Who's all out there? Everybody went quiet. There's the dogs. Are we frozen or something? Or did everybody just kind of go off and do their own thing? Oh, your daughter. Okay. Well, don't let us interrupt. You go and see your daughter. I'm not demanding you stay here. Yeah, I mean, we're at the end of our live stream. I think we're only going to be here for another 6 minutes or so. It's just turned 1:24. So, again, my name is Nancy. I live in a 2019 Ram ProMaster 3500 extended 159-inch wheelbase high top. It's the biggest of the ProMasters that you can get. And I chose this van. I was in a financial position to be able to get this van at the time. Had I not done it when I did, I would never have been able to afford this van. Which is why I don't have a professional build, because I just can't afford it. It's all my money went into the van. But yeah, I was in a financial position to be able to afford a van like this, brand new. And I want it to go brand new so then I knew what the history was on the vehicle and I know what to expect out of it. And I know that if I take care of it, it's going to last me a long time. So when you want a good home that's going to last you, you want to make sure that you know what the history is and there's no surprises, right? And it's not going to break down like a couple of weeks after you take it off the lot. Iron Firehorse says, glad I caught you tonight. I was moving stuff and just checked my phone for the time and saw you were on. Ah, well, that's cool. It was good for me. If it was good for you, I don't know. That remains to be seen. So, any of you younger kids, if you're popping in and you see this and you're considering van life or you have any sort of inkling towards it, I say do it. Absolutely, without a doubt, do it. What's the worst thing that can happen? It doesn't work out for you? Well, then you can go back to your sticks and bricks and live life that way. But you never know until you try, right? And the amount of money that you're going to save by living in a van is amazing. And then you'll be able to do the things that you want to do. And do it while you're young. I mean, I'm still in reasonable health at nearly 60. And, you know, my only regret with van life at this point is I didn't do it sooner. Iron Firehorse, I just dropped 5K into mine. Or it'd be at a scrapyard. Aw. Is it that far gone? No. And it's an older vehicle too, right? So, I mean, sometimes things happen, and vehicles are not cheap either, by any means. Don't get me wrong. Just because you have a vehicle and you're living in it doesn't mean that you're not going to encounter stuff along the way as the vehicle ages. I mean, that's just a given. But as long as you try and do the best you can and keep it mechanically up to date with everything like oil changes, tune-ups, any kind of regular maintenance, tires, suspension, that kind of stuff, it's going to last you a long time. As long as you take care of the motor, the engine, and all the mechanical part of it, the body will probably disintegrate long before the engine. As long as you take care of it. Some engines will make it way past 1 million frickin' kilometers or miles or whatever. And continue. So it's just all in the way that you take care of it. But having said that, even with the body, transmission and engine are good. Good, yeah. And see, transmission is another key factor too, right? That's the one that takes the most wear and tear, I would think. Because different terrain, going up, hills, down hills, and then when you've got to build, it's excessive weight. So it's hard on the transmission. But body rust and stuff like that, you can still do things to mitigate any of that kind of stuff. Undercoating, that's a good thing to put on your vehicle. Make sure you get it undercoated so it at least helps to stave off the rust and delays the onset of it. But most of the rust that happens on vehicles is all at the bottom, and it's all based on whatever's pitched up from the tires, because it's near the ground. And things like, it depends on where you're at and what the road crews use in the wintertime to, alleviate ice and snow on the roads. If they use a lot of salt, that's an issue. Salt is highly corrosive, highly corrosive. If they use sand, okay, it's not as corrosive as salt. However, as the sand gets pitched up from the tires, it will ding and chip the paint and stuff like that, which will expose the metal, and then it'll cause rust. But as you're driving, again, like I said, your tires are pitching up all kinds of dirt and debris, and it ends up getting into the crevices and pockets of the van body. And the more it accumulates, the harder it is for the bottom rocker panels to drain out. And all of that debris that sits in there holds moisture. And as long as it's holding moisture, it's exposing the body to potential rust situations, which is why the majority of vehicles get rust pockets, and it rusts right through in and around the wheel wells and the rocker panels. So if you can get into those rocker panels every now and then, if possible, and flush them out, you're going to prolong the van's life as far as rust along the body there. You rarely see rust happening to that degree up top. It's always down below, because that's where all its crap flies up from the road, from the tires. Yeah, salt is nasty for vehicles. It's terrible. And that's another thing too. If you're purchasing a used vehicle, pay attention to where you're purchasing it from. And if it's not, find out what the history on that vehicle is, and find out, okay, has it spent all its life in that area, or has it come from someplace else? And if it has come from someplace else, look at what the seasonal situations have been there, and what that particular area uses to mitigate ice and snow on the road. Is it salt? Is it gravel or sand? Take a look at all of that stuff. Also, location. Where's the vehicle from? A lot of vehicles that come from like deserty areas have very little to no rust on them, even the older ones. But if you're in an area that's close to the ocean, that can play a factor in rusting of the vehicle too, because of the salt from the ocean. Like if you're driving in and around near salty areas, like next to the seaside, or driving on the beaches or anything like that. Salt is just a bad thing. It's got many good uses, but it's nasty for vehicles. Nasty. It's always good practice too to rinse your vehicles off, especially in the wintertime. If you're in an area that uses a lot of salt, take your vehicle in and wash it frequently. Get that salt off of there. From Quebec, bought it in Ontario, better to buy from BC. It depends on what area of BC, I think. Like there was several years, I think it was around 2010, I bought a it was a Chevy Blazer ZR2. So it was a 4x4, nice little truck. I loved it. And I bought it from a dealership on the used lot of a dealership here in Vancouver. It was actually New Westminster, a fair ways from the ocean. But it was rusting out pretty bad. Found out that the original owner was from Seashelt, which is basically right on the ocean. So that's where all this massive rust was coming from. Again, it's proximity to anything that has like a salt content, whether it's what they use to salt and whatnot on the roads, or if you're near the ocean. Yeah, but I would just take your vehicle, no matter what vehicle that you have, and especially in the winter, just rinse it off. Take it to the car wash and just hose it down, and that'll help you prevent rust from accumulating. Try and keep debris and shit out of the pockets around the wheel well and along the rocker panels, and you're good as gold. You'll prolong the life of your vehicle for sure. Bernie says, sorry, meant leaving for dinner with family. Okay, well, take care. Have a good dinner. It was good to see you, Bernie. I'm glad you were able to drop in for a little bit. And yeah, we'll talk soon. Anyway, I think, what are we at? 1:35. Yeah, I think we'll pack it in for now. It's kind of hour and a half is usually what I try to keep it at. So, again, it was an impromptu live, and I just felt like popping on. Mainly to just kind of self-promote Smoke's channel. His new channel, which is called Smokin' Vanlife. So yeah, if you feel like it, go check his channel out. Give him a thumbs up or follow if you want. But yeah, Smokin' Vanlife. He wants to take a crack at it. Iron Firehorse, got to get back to it anyway. Okay, yeah, so I think this is a perfect time to take off. Yeah, it's Smoke 'N Vanlife. Smoke and Vanlife. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to take off. The puppies, they got to have their supper soon anyway. Hey, guys. So, yeah, we'll wrap it here. Take it easy. Iron Firehorse, good seeing you. Give the pups a hug for me. I will. Thank you. Thanks for dropping in. It's always good to see you guys. Yeah. I got to get better at announcing when I'm going to do these lives so people can plan around it. But I tend to just kind of pop in and out of people's lives without announcement. That's just me. But whatever. Okay, guys. Have a good one. Take it easy. Thanks for dropping in. And remember, life's a journey. Enjoy the ride. Take it easy, guys. See you next time.